as well. Let's start with this comment this was earlier today that is not even a complete list yet. Russ Dellinger. Here are the quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Kyle McCord, Dylan Gabriel. We knew about Cam Ward. We knew about Moore, Leonard, McCall, Van Dyke, Howard, Will Rogers, DJ. Also, Blake Shapen remains in the transfer portal. We'll have more on that a little bit after 4. There are names that are not included in that list. It is mass transfer portal. Floodgates are open.
Kyle McCord was kind of a shocking one to me, which leads me to believe, nobody on the list is a surprise except for Kyle McCord because they don't have a ready-made replacement, on the route. Dylan Gabriel replaced by Jackson Arnold. Cam Ward, it's not shocking given the money going to him. Dante Moore, we kind of went through that. All the other ones. But Kyle McCord surprised me a little bit because Ohio State doesn't have anybody. Yeah, they got Devin Brown, but he beat Devin Brown out this year. It was surprising because he did get better all year long, which leads me to believe that Ohio State's let him believe that there's a transfer coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, obviously so much to get to. Dylan Gabriel has a year left because he's a graduate transfer plus a year left. Your thoughts about that list? Because usually the transfer portal is about the quarterback.
That's somewhat surprising. Dylan had another year left, so, I understand when the rumors got started about Jeff Lebby and, him going to Mississippi State, there was the shot that, maybe Dylan Gabriel could join him. I didn't really buy into those, but, I suppose after weighing his options and as close as he is with Lebby and the opportunities that beyond Mississippi State, I'm sure are out there for a quarterback of his caliber, that was probably awfully enticing, and therefore he decides to enter his name into the transfer portal. I think at this point in time, especially having moved on from Lebby, Oklahoma is wanting something a little bit different, namely Jackson Arnold. So, if you're Dylan Gabriel and you feel like there's still a great opportunity at the college level, then you're going to look around, and so I understand that, but still was sort of surprised by that. I just felt like at this stage, you've kind of done all you can do, move on and go try your trade in the pros. But okay, we'll see what happens there. It's weird though because he's not even going to be considered a Sooner whenever he goes to the NFL at this point, which is so weird when you end your career somewhere else. You're way distance from being a UCF guy at this point. So don't know that I love 3 colleges for a quarterback in a career. I don't think that that's the coolest thing in the world. No. But then again, a lot of what's going on right now is not very cool. So, that was surprising. McCord, that was surprising. Cam Ward was not. Riley Leonard was not. A lot of these others were not. That's a good list, but it's also not quite living up to the expectations that I thought of when people were teasing this. Now, granted, they were drumming up interest for their articles and all the stories that were going to break early this week, but the way it was being teased, just wait until the portal opens, I don't feel like it's lived up to that. I don't know about you guys. I feel like Dylan Gabriel's a shockwave of sorts. Kyle
Especially
McCord
if he ends up at USC with Lincoln Riley, would that not just be typical? But go ahead.
Yeah, that would be a really wild story, and I don't know. That'd be kind of a slap in the face to Oklahoma fans after the last couple of years. But, that's certainly a possibility as well, and would be really interesting if that's what happens. But, that's a good list. It's a solid group of quarterbacks. I don't know. My expectations, I think, got a little bit too high because of just sort of the teasing at the end of last week. So that portal opened last night, and I'm like, all right, let the inmates start to run the asylum, and it was like a slow drip. And then today we got a bit more, but nothing that I think is super earth-shattering. I think Gabriel's a surprise, McCord's a surprise, like I said. But beyond that, that's kind of the list that you were expecting going in.
Shapen, Shuck, of course, Texas Tech. A lot of teams looking at him. I saw a note about maybe Louisville, among others. All right, and then Walter Nolan leaving A&M into the transfer portal, a big boy name.
That one, I thought of all the players, Evan Stewart, they may still have guys leave, and they haven't really, outside of Walter Nolan and another wide receiver, and Max Johnson, they haven't had an exodus, because I think that's part of the reason they brought Mike Elko back, because he had familiarity with the roster, and that people liked him and he could keep them around. But I guess Walter Nolan's big thing was Elijah Robinson leaving, because that's his position coach. He's on his way to Syracuse to be the defensive coordinator to Fran Brown. Jeff Nixon going to be the offensive coordinator while we're talking about that. So the band's getting back together a little bit there that was here in Waco together. But Walter Nolan did surprise me, because Mike Elko, being a defensive head coach, you would think could kind of help Walter's ascendancy to the NFL, but he's made big money at A&M. He's going to make big money wherever else he goes.
All right, so That's part of what today is. I saw a note from Max Olson. There was 350. That was like 2 hours
It's
ago.
500 now.
Now 500 already in the transfer portal. So all of that. And again, we'll discuss Baylor